we can make a decision today that we want to train our own foundation model, and we maybe like have a use case where we think it could be useful. But the next step is to actually do it, right? And I'm sure that you've seen like lots of different teams go through that process, right? Learn that. And what would you say are like the main challenges along the way that teams are facing?
We like to talk about the problems, so it definitely came up with every conversation that I had. And I guess, the most obvious bet of everyone, if you would ask, I guess, would be, the something related to the infra or in general, technical issues. But while, they are definitely challenging, the most consistent struggle that was mentioned was actually around the people. Meaning building an in-house as expertise, but also like finding the right talent. Well, obviously, field is relatively new and highly specialized. So finding folks that understand how to train foundation model is tough. And, it's not just about hiring great AI researchers. You also need people who are great at the hardware side. Distributed systems, data pipelines, and then how to fit it all together. So a lot of teams talked about, the effort that it's needed to build the strong and performing teams.
And do you think that, like, aside from like talent, which is obviously very important, like the first building block, is there like I don't know, would you say there's like a secret ingredient? Like, so what sets like the top teams apart from the rest of the pack? Is there something which you've identified, which you think people should focus on more, or like should focus on right from the beginning?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, people, it's one thing, and there's a lot of pains around, the hardware and infrastructure as well that I didn't touch, but we can also skip that. And actually, if I would have a good answer to the question you just asked, I think it would be a millions worth question, right? And I would maybe keep it to myself. But the truth is, I don't think I have a universal answer here. What I can say is that, while hiring the right set of people, it's absolutely essential. What also sets the high performing teams apart is how they set these people for success, like with the right tools, systems, and generally visibility across the entire training pipeline. And that means everyone involved, from research to infra, has a clear view of what's simply happening, how those pieces kind of interact and where things can be improved, right? And speaking of the right tools for the job, taking an example from my kind of world, from an experiment tracking piece of the pipeline. For example, like being able to branch off from a promising run without losing a full context, can save huge amounts of time and compute. It also helps team to stay focused and avoid burning GPUs on experiments that they don't make sense to keep on training. Also, when things go wrong, like a model is not converging or showing some strange behavior, you need to debug it fast. And having an access to detailed losses, gradients, and activations across all layers helps pinpoint exactly where things went off track. So at Neptune, I'm lucky to speak with folks that are working at the top labs or worked there in the past, and now they're like starting their own companies because they've seen what good and bad looks like, and they already know what kinds of tools they will need 6 or 12 months down the line. And their insights definitely help us shape product roadmap and ensure that Neptune is the right tool for the job and help research teams to be more efficient and more productive. So I would say great people matter, but the team that consistently succeeds are the ones that build also robust systems to support them.
Something that I was really surprised by when I started working on this report, when you brought me on for that, is that there are a lot of people that are either already training on-prem or are moving away from the cloud to on-prem. And I wondered if this like changes something for you, like as a tool provider, and also like more generally, what that means for like the MLOps landscape, which so far, at least in my experience, has been very focused on like cloud offerings, SaaS tools, right? And now it seems that we're like moving back, kind of into our basements, onto our own service again.
Yeah, like the shift towards the on-prem infra has, I would say, significant implications for the companies like ours that build tools for foundational model training, but in general, as you said, MLOps. It means that we need to be ready to support requirements of on-prem environments, and sometimes it's even like air gapped or even a Faraday cage. We've seen such. So for us, here at Neptune, we are offering not just like an on-prem version of our platform, but we've built our self-hosted deployment specifically to meet the realities of foundational model training at scale. And what I mean by that, it's, our architecture allows to scale Neptune alongside the training workflows without ever becoming a bottlenecks. Because, we believe that building tools for this new era of the model training means understanding that infrastructure reliability and scalability aren't just like nice to have. They're just absolutely essential, and that's exactly what we prioritized in Neptune.